It sounds completely insane and almost impossible to believe. Yet right in the heart of Europe, as well as in Asia and Africa, women are openly put up for sale. They are offered as brides who can be purchased like merchandise for a fixed price. These so-called bride markets really do exist. And today, we are taking you on a journey through some of the most fascinating, bizarre, and disturbing marriage markets of our time. Our first stop is not very far away, more precisely in southeastern Bulgaria. Every spring, traditionally on the Orthodox feast day of St. Todor, a market takes place here that seems to belong to an entirely different era. At the traditional bride market of the Kalegi, an Orthodox Christian Roma community, girls and young women between approximately 13 and 20 years old are quite literally put on display. They often wear elaborate, brightly colored velvet dresses, heavy makeup, and plenty of jewelry. They dance, laugh, and flirt. Their goal is to look as beautiful as possible and attract the attention of the young male visitors, so that the men's parents will buy them for their sons. Yes, you heard that correctly. Even in 2026, marriages among the Kalegi are still arranged almost exclusively in this way. The Roma community follows a strictly patriarchal way of life, and premarital relationships, or even secret flirting in everyday life, are considered completely taboo. The marriage market is therefore effectively the only socially accepted place where young people are allowed to choose a partner. When a young man and a young woman take an interest in each other, their fathers usually begin tough financial negotiations over the bride price immediately. Some girls are sold for as little as €2,500, while so-called premium brides, particularly attractive women from respected families who possess many useful skills, can cost $10,000, $50,000, or even more. And once an agreement is reached, the man's family will usually take the young woman home with them that very same day. While Kalegi brides are sold in this rather business-like manner, things look very different in the mountains of northern Vietnam, in the region surrounding Sapa and Cao Vai. This is where the Hmong ethnic minority lives, and once a year they hold what is known as a love market, an event that is visually striking in its own right. Young people from remote mountain villages gather here, wearing intricately detailed, hand-woven traditional clothing. They make music, play flutes, dance, and secretly exchange love songs. What initially appears to be a romantic folk festival, however, takes a bizarre turn for outsiders the moment a young man finds a girl he is interested in. At that point, he and his friends stage a ritual kidnapping. The young men lie in wait for the girl and then drag her back to his house. Although the girl is now almost always informed about the plan beforehand, strict tradition requires her to resist during this bride kidnapping and scream loudly for help, because failing to resist is considered a bad omen. Among the Hmong, a bride's no therefore traditionally means yes. Unfortunately, that also applies in cases where the girl genuinely does not want to take part. Once they arrive at the man's house, chickens are sacrificed in order to appease the ancestral spirits. After this ritual has been completed, the groom's family must negotiate the bride's purchase price with her family. The Hmong view this in purely economic terms. By losing their daughter, the bride's family is also losing an important agricultural worker, and that loss has to be compensated. In the past, payment was made with silver bars, pigs, and rice wine. Today, cash is usually paid instead. A typical basic bride price starts at the equivalent of around €5,000. However, this amount is highly flexible. If the woman is particularly attractive, hardworking, or has a university degree, the asking price rises dramatically. But selling brides does not always involve centuries-old traditions and rituals, as the enormous multi-million-dollar industry surrounding Ukrainian catalog brides shows. Before the internet, actual catalogs containing photographs and information about women were sent to interested men, particularly in Western countries. Today, online matchmaking platforms have taken their place. The operators, often unscrupulous agencies, ruthlessly exploit both the men and the potential brides. The women listed on these websites are usually desperately searching for a way out of poverty and a lack of future prospects. Meanwhile, the men, who often expect an obedient partner, are financially exploited in return. Instead of simply paying a flat fee when the agency successfully finds them a wife, they must first purchase digital credits. Once they discover a woman they are interested in, they have to pay for every single interaction, no matter how small. Every chat message costs money, a video call can cost up to nearly €5 per minute, and even opening a single email from the woman can cost around €10. The women often receive a small share of that money in exchange for keeping marriage-seeking men entertained through endless conversations, encouraging them to continue spending. Things become even more bizarre when it comes to so-called romance tours. Instead of merely paying to chat with potential brides online, Western men travel to cities like Kyiv or Odessa to meet them in person. However, these are not romantic dates. Instead, dozens of selected Ukrainian women are paraded past the men inside nightclubs or hotel lobbies. These encounters do sometimes result in actual marriages, but whether those marriages can truly be happy is questionable, to say the least. While all the bride markets we have covered so far have at least involved men choosing potential brides, we now come to one of the most unusual marriage markets in the world. In the heart of the Chinese megacity of Shanghai, inside the famous People's Park, a market is held every weekend where there are actually no single people looking for marriage. Instead, hundreds of parents gather to act as unofficial brokers for their adult children. They display notices known as marriage CVs, which are intended to convince other parents that their sons or daughters would make suitable partners. And if you are expecting photographs, lists of hobbies, or personality traits, you would be mistaken. Only cold, hard facts matter, because they are used to demonstrate the child's market value: age, height, salary, university degree, and, most importantly of all, property ownership. Without a home of his own, a man has virtually no chance on this market. When two parents find CVs that appear compatible, the documents are ceremoniously exchanged as though they were finalizing a corporate merger. As strange as this may sound, there is a serious reason behind it. Decades of China's one-child policy have resulted in the country having approximately 34 million more men than women. At the same time, highly educated women face enormous social pressure. Any woman who remains unmarried by her late 20s is mercilessly labeled a sheng nu, meaning a leftover woman. It is out of sheer panic over this stigma that parents visit the market. Finally, we come to the darkest chapter of this video. While participation in the markets we have covered so far has at least been largely voluntary, we are now looking into the darkest depths of illegal human trafficking. Just like China, the northern Indian state of Haryana also suffers from a severe shortage of women. However, the reasons are different. Decades of sex-selective abortions and female infanticide have resulted in tens of thousands of men being unable to find a wife through normal means. And this is exactly what organized human trafficking networks exploit. They simply abduct girls from desperately poor regions such as Assam, West Bengal, or Bihar, or purchase them from impoverished families under the false promise of lucrative employment. These girls and women are then taken to Haryana and sold to men who are often significantly older than they are, and they are sold for an unbelievably low price. Investigative journalists from Al Jazeera uncovered that women on these illegal markets are sold for as little as $35, the equivalent of around €30. In other words, a human life there is worth no more than a restaurant meal, and we are not talking about isolated cases. In fact, the practice is so widespread that the victims even have their own name. They are known as paro. The purchased women are treated by the local community as nothing more than commodities. They are not regarded as legitimate members of the family. They have no inheritance rights whatsoever, and they are often treated like domestic slaves. Many are treated so badly by the entire household that they can no longer endure it. Attempts to escape or report the abuse to the police are almost always hopeless, because these intimidated women are up against powerful and extremely well-connected human traffickers. From Bulgaria to Shanghai, from Vietnam to India, these markets are separated by thousands of miles but connected by one common thread: the treatment of women as transactions. The question of where tradition ends and exploitation begins is one the world is still struggling to answer.